We start this broadcast with a massive news alert coming in. India has decided to reduce the staff of the Pakistan High Commission in New Delhi by 50%. New Delhi has also decided to reduce 50% of its own staff at the Indian High Commission in Islamabad. The decision will be implemented in the next 7 days. Today, India summoned Pakistan envoy to the External Affairs Ministry and conveyed this decision. This after India repeatedly expressed concerns about the activities of officials of the Pakistani High Commission in New Delhi. India says Pakistani officials have been engaged in acts of espionage and have maintained dealings with terrorist organizations. Now that is a massive charge against Pakistani High Commission officials in India. This comes after India caught 2 Pakistani High Commission officials red-handed and expelled them on the 31st of May 2020. India says Pakistan has also engaged in a sustained campaign to intimidate the officials of the Indian High Commission in Islamabad. 2 Indian officials were abducted in Pakistan at gunpoint recently after the return to India on the 22nd of June 2020. The 2 Indian officials provided graphic details of the barbaric treatment that they experienced at the hands of the Pakistani agencies. Thus, India has now told Pakistan to reduce the staff strength in the Pakistan High Commission in New Delhi by 50%. Pakistan has been given 7 days to comply. India too will reciprocate and reduce its staff strength at the Indian High Commission in Islamabad. Joining us with all the details is WION's principal diplomatic correspondent Siddhant Sibal is live with us with all the details. Siddhant, this is a massive diplomatic step taken by India and the charges are very serious: espionage and that the Pakistani High Commission officials were also in contact with terror groups.
Well, massive development, and coming after almost 2 decades. The last time such a development happened was after the 2001 Parliament attack, when India had recalled its top diplomat from Pakistan, and now the development coming. But on 2 counts, this development happened: first on espionage and secondly on the harassment of the Indian officials. Remember, WION was the first channel to break the story of how 2 Pakistani officials were involved and caught red-handed trying to source top secret information. And now, of course, the MEA has said the links with terrorists as well. India, of course, had expelled them within a matter of 24 hours. But what followed was series of harassment of the Indian diplomats, including the Indian DHC, Gaurav Ahluwalia. We got the videos as well. We have seen the videos how he was chased and tailed when he went to market. And this became a norm in Islamabad against our diplomats. So after the implementation of the decision and the time period, of course, as you have told our viewers, 7 days, which is, of course, a week's time, the strength on both sides at the Pakistani High Commission here in Delhi and at the Indian High Commission in Islamabad will stand at 55, reduced from the current strength of 110 both sides, which is, and this also shows the deterioration of relationship between the 2 countries. And in fact, after the Pulwama terror attack, which happened on 14th of February 2019, and of course India retaliating with Balakot strikes, the relationship could never perhaps go up. The Indian side did try through various means, including COVID cooperation and cooperation when it comes to the locust crisis, but Pakistan was not clearly keen on that. In fact, when it comes to the locust meeting cooperation, India had hoped for the usual annual meetings to happen earlier than the current time period, but Pakistan refused to even attend the annual meetings for in a major first, I would say. So clearly it shows how the ties have deteriorated between the 2 countries, and of course it looks like it's a step backwards when it comes to the relationship, but by and large primarily because of the action by Islamabad, not only through harassment, espionage, but the continuous provocation through cross-border terrorism in the Indian Union territory of Jammu and Kashmir.
Siddhant, very quickly, one final question I need to ask you. India recently expelled 2 Pakistani High Commission officials after catching them red-handed involved in acts of espionage. Do we know the details of that?
Well, Well, yes, of course, these two officials were trying to source top secret information, and of course, there was a tip-off, and thereafter there was a plan or trap laid by the Indian authorities, and they were caught red-handed in the heart of Delhi in Karol Bagh, which is an area which is visited by a lot of people. In fact, there were videos also which surfaced later of how these officials tried to hope to get information from the so-called mole they had found, but that was of course a trap laid by the Indian establishment. But the Pakistanis were very keen to have a tit for tat, and they could not, in fact, they find any reason this time around, because remember last time this incident happened of espionage, any Pakistani official caught red-handed, was way back 4 years ago in 2016, when one Pakistani official was found, and immediately Pakistan, in a tit-for-tat move, expelled an Indian official within 2 days.
Absolutely.
This time they could not find any reason, and that frustration had led to 2 Indian officials being taken by the whisk away, in fact, by the authorities there. But finally, this entire saga coming to an end with the strength being reduced by 50% on both sides of the border.
Siddhant Sibal, thank you so much for joining us. Certainly, relations between India and Pakistan have reached a new low. India has now told Pakistan and given Pakistan 7 days to reduce its strength at the High Commission in New Delhi by 50%.